Hello and welcome to Honey Iced Tea. My name is Noeli Eram Ablayosi. Life comes to us in different stages. In our society, you're expected to get an education, get a job or start a business, and after that, start a family. And if you're not married at a certain age in this society, it's a problem. The pressure is usually on the women. But today I'm asking, do men get pressured to marry? And I'm going to be having the conversations with two friends in the studio. One is married, the other one is single, like I am, but that's not why we're here. We're going to talk about the pressures that men go through to get married. And the reason why you as a guy, you need to watch today's show is because you're going to be getting how you should be prepared to get married, what you should be prepared for physically, psychologically, financially. And so let's get started on the show. And I have Gordon. Hi, Gordon.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today. And I have Emmanuel, who is like our all-knowing.
Hey,
yes,
all-knowing.
All-knowing. Like you.
Don't give me any pressure.
Emmanuel.
All-knowing.
All-knowing because he always has an opinion.
Wow.
And it's always good. So let's get started. Guys, let me start with you, Gordon. Do men get pressured to get married?
One way or the other, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because, well, let me use myself as an example.
Okay, yes, let's do that.
Yeah. Being single man, people expecting you at this point in your life, at least you have something ongoing.
Okay.
And you're living the dream of many.
Okay.
And after that, they think you need to always come to their parties where you're having someone hand in your armpit, you know.
You need to come like hand in hand, like.
So there's sort of this pressure from family and friends, and every time, even when you post a picture, and the first thing that comes like, where is your man?
Oh God. I get it. Now let's just take a pause on that. And I also want you to think, like you said, family, friends. But another question that I want to ask is, do you as a person sometimes go like, I need to get married, or maybe I should actually think about this married thing? So you think about that, and then I'll come to Emmanuel. Okay. Emmanuel, you're married.
Yes, I am.
At what age did you get married?
28, I think.
Why? Isn't that young?
Young, wow.
I feel like 28 is young.
Well, as at the time I was getting married, which was about 4 years ago, it wasn't that young. I think it was an average age at that point. I had people, friends I knew who had gotten married a year or two earlier.
Okay.
And so, yes, I'd say it was the average time. And also because I had known my partner for about 8 years before then. So once I was ready, she was ready. I think it was just...
what made you think you were ready? Like, as a man, like, do you get to a place and you go like, I'm ready to do this?
I think you should. If marriage is something that's important to you, you should know when you are ready for it. And that's one thing I would say, whether it's a priority or not, has a lot to say about your preparation towards it.
So obviously, for someone to make that decision, then it has to be someone that marriage is a priority for them.
It has to be a personal decision.
So Gordon, I was asking you before I went to Emmanuel, do you sit back and go like, okay, so business, check. House, probably check. Cars, check. I live in this place by myself. Is it about time that I have a partner? Do you ever think about that, irrespective of the fact that people expect you to show up to things with a person?
Sometimes, yes. But at the point you look at yourself and then think about the requirement it takes. And then you start to ask yourself, at your age, are you really, ready? And when you think about those things, then you start. I read stories about some people that got into early marriages and then the challenges they are facing. And then you look at them, feel like, no, you are not really ready, and that you need to be matured enough.
Enough. Yeah. Good. Which brings me to the next question to Emmanuel, because he got married, right? And so I wanted you to walk us through the process. So you said you were ready. What did that look like?
Okay, so I thought I was ready. let me qualify it.
Okay, you thought.
One thing that Gordon says basically was the repositions my thoughts on it. At the time, to be fair, I thought I was ready.
So for now, I want us to stay there before we come to. You see, you thought you were ready. Then you got into it and realized that I wasn't ready. So tell us the first thoughts. Like, when did you feel like, okay, maybe I have a good job, I'm this, I'm that, and this person and I have been together for a while, so it just makes sense. So tell me.
The first thing is the person.
Okay.
I mean, that's the other player in this game. No matter how the pitch is, how round the ball is, if the person you are playing with is not the right person, then this whole game is wrong. So the first thing is the person. I think one advantage I had was that we went through so many phases: friendship, acquaintance. Look, 8 years gives you
a lot. That's a lot of time
for you to.
And if by 8 years you don't know you want to be with the person,
see this person different kinds of faces and shades, and you know who they are. So that gave me the opportunity to know for sure the person I was going to do this with. So that was checked.
Yeah.
The next thing was whether I was financially stable to do this, and ours was a bit logical because I knew her when, I think before uni actually, and we all went to different universities.
Okay.
And then right after uni, God being so good, I think I got a job, the first job before I ended uni actually officially ended. And then the second job that will make you also came a year after that. So once I got to the second job and I was okay, I knew that this is the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with.
Okay.
I could afford a ceremony, I could afford a home, I could afford a child at the time, and she was also progressing in those same fields of her life.
Okay.
And so it just
makes
worked.
sense.
Yes, it just
so financially,
yes,
you were stable enough for that.
Yes.
Did you think about it emotionally, psychologically? That's where the issue came
that
from.
You can never be sure. So you see, one thing married guys say is, look, we will not advise the young people on how to prepare for marriage because there are some things that you can never be fully prepared for.
Okay.
You need to get into it and readjust and learn the nitty-gritties of it, and with commitment you can go through. That said though, I think that I would have benefited from some form of preparation emotionally and psychologically for what marriage is generally. And like my pastor would say, the counseling should be but also you need it most when you are
in it. Now, Gordon, so he said you need to be financially stable enough to want to be able to afford the ceremony and
not
all that.
The ceremony
and raising a family and all those things that come with it. So let me ask you, that you're single, what scares you the most? Maybe he can tell us something that, like, because you said you've heard stories of people who've got into there and like, is that one of the things? Because I mean, you look like you got it together on that side, but there's something that's preventing you, which people around you probably feel like is the reason why you're still single. Like, what's the thing?
Well, one thing that really scares most is someone who is really going to understand you.
Okay.
You know, not somebody who is trying to get you to like go about what she wants. You understand? Because you wake up in the morning, you're traveling to different countries on business errands and so on. You go to work, sometimes you stay at work till 9, 10, 11 as to 1 a.m. before you come home.
Yeah.
And if you if you get someone who really requires attention all the time, you know, there's going to be a problem. So these are the fears sometimes as to a person who will understand you.
Yeah.
Maybe from the beginning, it will be easier for her, but once they get into it in the long term, it's going to be, you know, complicated.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Emmanuel, you said before you thought you were married.
Yeah.
Now, when you entered, because one question that I always ask people is that when they're giving all this pressures about your marriage, I'm like, you are married, and so what? And then what happened?
Yeah.
You know, and you said you dated for 8 years.
Yeah.
What weren't you prepared for? Because you said you're seeing this person through all phases.
But, so we started, I knew her quite earlier. And at that point, none of us was ready. So right after senior high school, entering university, of course, you're not ready to get married. So when you put the years together, the 8 years, I think that we're serious about each other quite early. That's the difference. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because ordinarily, you just entered uni, you shouldn't have someone that you are serious about. You are still a kid.
Uni is where people go to meet people.
So you add 4 years, you add 1 year of national service, you add maybe 1 year of work. So by the 7th, we knew that, okay,
wow,
you are ready. So it's not because, so the relationship, I would say, in an official sense, did not take 8 years.
Okay.
But there was a certain sense of commitment for that 8 years.
Wow.
So that's it. So
what weren't you prepared for? So what surprised you?
In terms of
yes.
Wow.
Like what?
So 8 years can never prepare you for living with somebody.
Yeah, it's the living with them, no?
Yes, for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It makes it easier when you're friends. So we don't have those big fights. We've never had it. But things as like little differences and quirks, like I sleep, like look, I like to sleep in some days. She likes to rise early and tidy up, and you're not helping me. And look, for me, you know, so things like that, when the two of you now live together, it takes a lot of adjustments. Apart from that, you just have responsibility. You just don't have a responsibility yourself. You have a responsibility. As they say, if you are getting married, you are getting married to two families, right?
Yeah,
so it's not just the two of you. And so then you have bigger responsibilities, and then there's your both decisions on how many children you want to have, how to raise your children, and when the children come, it gets more complicated than that. You know, so
Gordon, why are you laughing? Like the things that he's saying, I'm looking at your face, and you're just like you smiled and then turned into like, what's making you laugh? Tell me. What? Like what? No, when you look at it, does it look like something like, you know what? What is making you? I need to know what is making you laugh.
What he's saying is quite interesting, you know, because it's a thing I always think about. You know? So it's like he's answering some.
I told you, and that's what this whole show is about. Because I feel like even though we're talking about men being pressured, as a woman, by the time we're done with this conversation, you will know if your partner is ready. The most important thing is that the marriage has to be a priority for them. And that's why I strongly believe that when you meet someone, you start talking to them, that's a question you need to ask them. If marriage is a long-term plan for you, like if you want to date casually, tell the person at the beginning that, you know what, this is just, we're just catching cruise. You know, it's not that deep. But then marriage has to be a priority for the person, and then all these things that Emmanuel is saying. Now another question is, how important is compromising? Like, how important is compromising?
When you just ask that question, my eyes just went like this. And you're not compromising. What else are you doing?
And how much compromise do we have to compromise?
Okay, so you draw the line, right? There are some things that you should be honest to yourself that you can't compromise on. So if you're someone that physical attraction is important for you, that you can't compromise on, that's fine. So
wait, so it means that if you like a thick woman like myself,
don't compromise on
don't go and marry a skinny lady and then expect her to thicken up, and vice versa. If you like a slay baby, don't go with a Raz lady and then expect that she needs to be looking 10 over 10 all the time. And that takes a lot of work. This slay takes a lot of work. So
Yeah.
marry somebody that thing comes
yes. So
easily
you
to.
have big things. That's why people define some things as deal breakers.
Yes.
So define your deal breakers.
breakers.
And all the things we are saying, knowledge of self.
Absolutely.
It's like a foundation of all
Yeah.
this. That's why when you go to senior high school, the first thing social studies they teach you is the concept of self.
Yes.
You need to understand who you are. Same thing for marriage. Deal breakers. When those are the things you can't compromise on, so you deal with that.
Yes.
Now everything else falls
Under
under that.
that.
There are some things that people will be able to adapt to. Your partner will be able to adapt to certain things and try to, because for them, changing that aspect of their life is not a deal breaker for them as well. So then they can compromise. Then there are the few things that you guys will knock heads over. And that one, you will have to compromise on. And you know the 80-20 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it comes to a point where you will have to list the positives of this. It will get
Shouldn't
there.
that be done before? Gordon, what do you think? Like, I think that when you're getting to know someone, before you decide to plunge in, like, I feel like you
will
need
not
to
be
do like
rational
a.
enough to do that.
That's the thing I don't like about love.
You
It
will
does
not.
make you
You will
think.
not, you will not, you will
So how about you write the list down, and then when you meet the person, you go like, okay, I want them
Life
to.
has a funny way of it will give you shades of almost everything, like half of everything. So what will you do?
Now the big question is that I want to: has a sex in marriage? Is it like good? Because some people, I know people who say they have the assumption that married people don't have enough sex. That's why they're still
Okay,
single.
so
So
how
they're
will I
trying to
put-
like get it all out
How
of
do I
their
put
system.
this? So if you're a guy, and sex is a big deal. Like you have voluptuous libido.
He means if your libido is like this.
You will need to deal with it before you get married.
Wait, what do you
It's
mean
as
by
simple as that.
Gordon? What do you think of that?
You need to deal with what?
Yeah.
How?
If you're a guy who has a huge sexual appetite,
Yeah.
you would need to deal with that. Tone it down a bit. Learn to manage it before you get
Learn
married.
to manage your. What else?
Let me
they
be
ha-
clearer.
Be clearer.
So young people think when I get married, and I got this when I was also getting married. Yo, now you have
License to fire.
yeah every day 30 days. No.
That's a
30
myth.
days divided by 2 first, right?
15
And
then minus.
now minus the other days.
How does
it
that
doesn't
make you
work
feel,
like
Gordon?
that.
Like, is this something that you're thinking? Like he said, you think you're gonna get 30
No,
days
no,
of
you're
lane
not.
divided by 2? That's
No.
15. What do you mean by no? Like,
Well, because I have been in a distance relationship before,
Uh-huh.
and I think it was sexual aspect wasn't a problem.
okay,
You
so
know.
you're okay with the
Yes.
fact that
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be getting laid as much as
yes.
I would like
You'll
to.
expect. So
Yeah.
you
Or
need
you
to
expect.
You need to manage the expectation on sex. For men, it's very important. A counselor once said something, and before we got married, and my partner and I laughed about it because it didn't make sense. First thing he said when he got to the topic of sex, he said, "Draw a timetable and put it on the wardrobe of your bedroom."
Yes.
That's how
Type.
you can deal
Yeah,
with
I think
sex.
it is true. I agree with that because we get so busy. Because
Yeah.
I was in a relationship at a time where even we were in the same country, this Ghana, and then we had to be on the phone and align our calendars. That was how busy we
crazy?
both was. Like, okay,
Yeah.
he says I have this week, and I'm like, okay, I don't have this. Okay, that means we have to meet during the weekday if you have to go here. And I think that that's one of the issues in most marriages is people not making time for the sex.
And it's just
So the timetable thing, you
complacency
need a
as well.
timetable.
It's complacency. For guys, something happens. So like when you're in courtship, sexual attraction is like high because it's forbidden. You know. It's,
Yeah.
And you know all of that. Then once you get married, it plateaus. So already psychologically, you are dealing with this. When your expectation was this, you are dealing with this to start with. Then you throw the complexities of life. Look, you are both working, you get tired. When the child comes in, dealing with the child is a handful. You will just not have. You end up the number of days that you both align on this thing in a month will be very, very few. But the problem is a man's libido doesn't change.
The man's libido is not adhering to the timetable on the wall.
So that's where there'll be a problem. Yes, that's where there has to be some adjusting, compromise. So one person has to compromise. And then otherwise, then Madam Side Chick is on the.
We will not even get into that conversation because that's not what we are trying to say on the show. That if the timetable is not working, you should now outsource the business of the house.
No, we are not saying you shouldn't, but I'm just saying that's why that business is thriving.
Oh, that industry is booming.
Yes, it's because of that mismatch. That
let's start into that. Do you think that that business is booming and it's because people want to gain some? Like, what's your opinion on the side chick business?
It's been booming since 1953.
It's been booming since.
Have you been in the market?
No, I haven't.
No.
No, but I have friends. Look, when I got married, I understood why people will have side chicks because like you just need an extra outlet and you need to be strong.
Okay, now I want to ask, in between guys, right, let's say you are like a bunch of 5 or 6 friends over the years, then 5 of them get married. Does that get to you? Is that part of the pressures as well to get married? Is that a thing?
Yes, because sometimes guys, we can set some trip maybe on a party day or any day, and it's quite very nice to see people coming with their family and understand.
Yeah.
And then
you're the only guy that shows up.
Even though you may have some lady companion, but still doesn't feel the same as having the ring on your finger to call a wife.
Well, on that beautiful note, we're going to go for a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we will get into the conversation a bit and conclude. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Honey Iced Tea, and if you missed the show, just start from the beginning because we're having such an interesting conversation on the topic, do men get pressure to marry? So before we went on the break, Emmanuel walked us through some of the expectations, like the things that he thought he knew, and then when he got into the marriage, he was surprised. But let me ask you guys, right? So where does the pressure come from the most? Family or friends?
I would say family, because look, if guys will be honest to their friends, they will know the same question you asked Gordon. Will he feel pressured if in
if like 5 friends, 4 are married and he's still single?
Not. I'm thinking that most people in such a situation who are not guys who are not married is because of the stories the 4 are telling them about the marriage.
Wait, you hold on, because I want to hear some of those like horrifying stories. But where do you get your pressure the most? Like family or friends? Like, do you think that when you go out, sometimes you don't get invited to things because you're single?
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
That's a good one.
It's family.
The most?
Yeah.
Did any of your family members try to auction you for free somewhere before?
Yes, it has happened, I think, 2 times.
Tell us. We want to hear. But like, so you get most of your pressure from your family, right? So Emmanuel, you're about to. What is the like? Do you good? So back to the friends, right? Are there friends that are purposely preventing the one guy from getting married? Like, does that happen? Because
that happens. Maybe sadly.
Subtly.
No, but the B is
wait. So that happens. That's a thing.
Yes.
Tell me about
the stories they tell, right? So if guys will be honest, guys usually need some time to adjust. When they get married, give them like 5 to 10 years to adjust when they get married.
5 to 10 years?
Yes, I believe so. Because look, in the first 2 or 3 years, you are getting to know the person. Actually, every year, every milestone has the kind of
like we've overcome
the kind of challenge or the kind of tone the marriage takes. So I think there's a point. I think the first second, you bicker a lot because you're now trying to get used to each other's differences, their quirks and all of that. And then I think by the third and fourth, you start thinking that, oh, by all means I made a mistake. Like with this particular person.
What?
No, these statistics, and I wish I could quote the exact statistics, but there's a chart.
Wow.
So by the 7th year, if you haven't taken these tents, the previous tents properly, successfully, by the 7th you are getting ready to divorce, or you are getting to something really stronger.
Wow.
And most of the time it's harder for the men because there are lots of sacrifice. We're talking about the biological thing, the libido thing already, and then the fact that you can't just go and watch football without accounting to somebody.
Yes.
You can't be the playful child, quote unquote. You've always been.
I do not believe that a man is a big baby. Like, you are not a child.
No, not all men, but they are. Look, men like adventure in every form of it.
I like adventure.
Men like playing games, like.
Even I look at guys who play games a lot, like, you are adults. Like, how do you have time to play games?
The moment and all of that, and some of these things you can't do, like as you used to.
Just don't be a child.
When so back to my point, we need some getting used to for some time.
With time.
In that period, if you are talking to your friends about marriage and they are to give you their candid view, you might not find it a very attractive thing to do. Even if they don't say it overtly, you can infer that from their demeanor and how that look. This is not a very. Do
you get this same vibe from your friends? Like, are you trying to say that you don't have like any friend that is like successfully married, like that are having a good time that make you wanna? Or it's always horror stories?
Oh no, I have friends that are really enjoying the marriage, and they even pressure me more
because they're saying like this is a really good thing.
And sometimes they invite me on a party and invite their girlfriend and trying to
their girlfriend or their wife.
Like a normal friend actually.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe
trying to set you up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So trying to set me up to someone, and always they'll be like, "Man, you need to get married. You need to get married." Sometimes you go to their naming ceremony. I remember last year, I was invited for a naming ceremony. I called it off before because
you knew what was. This was heavy.
Yeah, I mean, a certain guy tried to hit on me at my brother's wedding. Very awkward.
Yeah. So I gave them an excuse that I'm running a business errands and I can't, and I was sorry for that. So, and it was because
of that.
I think my mind wasn't prepared for
going through
the pressure. Because sometimes they would joke by it, but to me it affects me. In some way.
I know. That's another thing, right? I mean, so back to you. Like, how does that make you feel? When your friends, even though they think that they're trying to help, because I get people like, why you know this, I think there's something wrong with me, but then there's nothing wrong with me. I just haven't met someone that I want to be with, and there's nothing. How does that make you feel? Because sometimes I just feel like
sometimes I feel like they don't know my age, because to me I feel immature.
Okay, and you have reasons and things that make you feel that way, and which is great,
but they don't know.
Exactly. They don't know what's going on in the inside. They just think you are this, you should be this.
Yes. And whenever they bring these issues up, they are not ready to listen to your excuse.
You're speaking my language.
It's always like you just have to do what they want.
And your life is your own, so you do what you want to do. Get married when you want to get married, and get married to somebody that. Because at the end of the day, one thing I always say is, I am going to live with the person. You may make the introduction. You be excited at the wedding that we put these people feeling like Cupid. But I have to live with the person
behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors, and then you're like, oh, but we didn't know. They are the ones getting the slap, not you. You're in your house having a good time.
Even on they'll be sharing your social media
posts,
handles to their friends, to be adding you.
Yes, people post you and like, oh, this is my friend. She think, but the next thing somebody's texting me like,
it's like
who
your
is this?
singleness it's everybody's
business.
problem.
Yeah.
Like that part I don't get over, like oh this person, oh my friend she's single, like I'm okay.
Look, to balance the conversation, I think that there's also good reason to look. We've talked about the things people should be mindful about. That's not all rosy, and that you should be prepared. Right?
Yes.
But if you get everything right, if you're able to go through it, adapt to the changes, all of that, it's a beautiful thing. And people think that makes you more stable. I think that's where the family pressure comes from.
in.
Because
it makes you more responsible. There are some
Exactly,
irresponsible married people.
your parents don't want you to see you jumping from one woman to the other.
Ooh.
So the idea is that once you are sound, and you can take care of a family with a woman, that will stabilize you. And people even go to the extent of saying religiously that he who finds a woman finds a good thing. And after that, but people say that blessings come with marriage, right? And people have testimonies
about it
to attest to that.
Yeah.
Yes. So look, all in all, you found someone who is who is foolish enough to say, "Yo, I'm carrying my faith to yours." That's the ultimate trust anybody can give you, right? And so in that, it's a good thing. That you get the negative feedback on it from people who haven't prepared for it, and maybe they chose the wrong person, or they're just not emotionally prepared for it. And that's how you get these kinds of.
But Gordon, after all the conversation we've had today, how does that make you feel? Did you get something out of this? Like, makes you wanna maybe I need to rethink this? Because you keep saying that. I feel like I'm immature. Like, what's left? Give us one example of something that because we know you slightly.
Yes,
we're thinking it's about time. Tell us one thing, aside from the fact that you're busy with work. Maybe you meet someone on a flight and you people will be doing the busy thing, but then what else makes you feel so unprepared?
Okay, well, I don't ever dream of getting married and then divorce later. So
good.
I really want to
take your time.
Yes, and then have as much as education I will put together to
Absolutely
choose the right one.
Yeah. Because for me, I thought I knew about relationships. I thought I knew. You know me, like I know, say like I feel, say I know. And then I had this epiphany one day. I will never forget. I was in a class somewhere, and I was like, let me read about relationships. And my mind was blown. I realized that I knew nothing, and I was operating from a place of ignorance when it came to certain things. And some of the conversations that we've had behind the scenes, it was out of educating myself that I realized that I need to put this together. So if you're single, instead of just being focusing on people are saying you're single, maybe this is your preparation time. You need to invest in yourself as a person, be prepared financially, educate yourself emotionally. Now Emmanuel has let us know that the sex it's not going to be how you want it.
So it has to be a realization. So I think the difference in their anatomies, right? Women must try to understand where men are coming from biologically as far as sex is concerned.
Absolutely.
And then we also have to understand what puts a woman in the mood, what kills the mood.
Yes.
We
need to have a whole sex conversation on this show.
Not even just the romantic, the psychological side, because when a woman has something on their mind, it will be difficult to put it aside.
Is it true that men have sex to get things off their mind?
Yes,
like if he's had a hard day. So
actually, yes.
So you are just trying to blow off steam.
A man, for example, who's lost confidence because of XYZ, that affection from a partner basically takes him up.
Okay.
You get my point? It gives him some sense of acceptance and confidence. And then when he's stressed, sex does it. When he's angry, sex does it. So basically, a man needs.
That makes me, as a woman, feel some type of way. Like
it should. So that's the understanding you should have, right? That's the understanding you should.
So that's the understanding I'm supposed to come with. So if you're a lady, they're just letting us know
that's how important it is.
Listen, it's compulsory. So, no, I mean, as in,
but it's necessary.
yes,
It's like extremely necessary for a man.
you are here for us to have sex with you, and vice versa. So sometimes the sex is not for your benefit. It's not out of love. It is part of your
necessity. You know, yeah, I heard a radio sometime about is it dutiful sex? Sex as a chore.
Yes.
And then it doesn't sound romantic,
but that's
I
the
think there's an
reality.
amount of
Sometimes
that's what the counselor meant by do a
calendar.
Because no matter how the woman is feeling, once she sees the calendar, knows that
it's like today is the day.
She has to prepare.
That's like,
you know, and it solves a lot of problems. But as much as possible, the two partners owe it to each other to make it romantic enough. That's something you owe to each other, so that it's less of a chore.
Yeah.
And
so before we wrap up, I want to come to you. I want you to think about something that you've been married for a while. Your marriage is quite young. You're in your 4th year, right?
Yeah.
So to the youngins, you see, people who are like their baby stages. Baby stages of marriage, and people who are close to getting married.
Yeah.
Think about something that you want us to wrap up the show for them that they can take home with them.
Okay.
Now, Gordon, so far, like I was telling you that after we've had this conversation, feeling much better, like you wanna, how are we? Like if before the show, you were like 5 years away from the
10 years away.
Wow. How close are we now? Like, what do you want to say in conclusion to this? The pressures that people, like someone is watching the show and they're getting that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Tell them how you're dealing with it and how they should deal with it moving forward.
It's all about, sometimes forgetting what the negativity from others. You know, if it didn't work for others, doesn't mean it would not work for you.
Absolutely.
Because you just have to learn a lot from people that it has worked for them.
Absolutely.
And get to learn a lot from them, how they were able to adjust to all issues. Yeah. So I think that's what we need to look at.
Do.
And then you have the confidence to really fight your fears.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He said something like, so like someone is like, do I really want to do this? Like, look at this peaceful life that I've had, and like, do I really want to like muddle?
Yeah, because
something.
You know, there's that fear.
Before I got married,
yeah,
actually, so aspects of some of the things we thought about before. There was a point where we're like, nah, the way people are, the negative things people are saying about marriage, maybe we shouldn't enter marriage and put like the definition on our relationship as marriage. Maybe that's what will spoil everything. We are going so well as it is. Let's just continue.
I mean, that's a different conversation. But there are people who have cohabitated for years, and they feel like
under the illusion that because it's not marriage, I can get out anytime I want.
Exactly.
Now, because you can't get out at any time you want,
you need to
the slightest thing like, but this thing, it's not like I can get out. Oh Lord. Like, then it becomes, so
I mean, so what you're saying is that we need to be listening more to the positive aspect and be friends with people like Emmanuel. Like, if we want to get married, definitely come to Emmanuel and his wife and get some tips and
we'll just be honest. We'll just be honest.
As you should. I always think that before you get married, talk to a person that has been divorced and talk to a person that has a good marriage, because you get from both sides. And maybe you should talk to people who are struggling. Maybe you might just learn some things from them. But Emmanuel, your final thoughts on the conversation?
For people who are thinking of
getting married or are in the like baby stages of marriage and they're trying to quit. Tell them something that will make them not quit.
Unless it becomes so toxic that you can't find yourself. Like, it's abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive,
financially abusive.
You can't recognize yourself as Emmanuel anymore. Then at that point you've given too much of yourself.
Compromise too much.
And at that, then it becomes a problem. But if it's not that, and you can still count lots of positives, there's commitment at both ends to make it work, then you have something. if you are facing challenges, and they should look for that statistics, what I talked
About the stages of your marriage.
Yeah, then you know that what you are feeling is very natural.
Natural.
And you are looking to get to the next milestone. And after the 7th year, you would
I think they need to print a chart and put it like we're here.
With that. So the point is, if you married somebody, then they are worth living the rest of your life with, and that's what you should be concentrating on. Most of the time it's beautiful. The reason why we say watch out for these things is because we thought it was all going to be beautiful, and these are the few things that shocked us, which is what we talk about. But the 70 or 80% of it
time is better
because you have a companion for life.
Thank you to Gordon. Thank you, Emmanuel, the all-knowing. It's like our sensei on the show.
I really don't like that.
A big thank you to my production crew. Thank you for doing the watching. We'll see you same time next week. It's bye for now.